Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? All back there? All right. What a beautiful morning. I am Christine Pearson, and I am incredibly honored to serve as Faculty Marshal for today's celebration. Welcome to the College of Engineering commencement ceremony honoring doctoral candidates from the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. We are delighted to have you all here with us in person to share this special day with you. Today's ceremony is also being webcast. If you would like to share the address with family and friends, it is engineering.berkeley.edu/begrad. And to everyone who's already tuned in, a warm welcome. To begin the ceremony, we have invited Leah Skurlock, who will be graduating from UC with a bachelor's degree in vocal performance next year to sing the national anthem. Please stand as you are able.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? And the, oh, crap, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Please be seated. This morning's commencement celebration is devoted entirely to our doctoral degree candidates. In front of us today are nearly 300 exceptional individuals who have earned a doctoral degree from Berkeley Engineering, and you have done so under extraordinary circumstances. UC Berkeley is recognized as a world leader in graduate education with more top-ranked graduate programs than any other university in the world. The programs in Berkeley Engineering are no exception, and while that may say great things about our faculty, it definitely says wonderful things about you. Each one of you deserves to be very proud of your accomplishment. We have a great program planned this morning, and we ask that everyone please stay for the entire event out of respect for all of our graduates. To offer the first of what will be many congratulations to our graduates, I am pleased to present Tsu-Jae King Liu, Dean of the College of Engineering. Please welcome Dean Liu.
Good morning, graduates, and welcome to everyone here in the Greek Theater and to all those who are watching the webcast online. This is a long-awaited commencement ceremony for our PhD graduates. It is one of my greatest honors as dean to be able to celebrate this milestone accomplishment with you. And I'm just as excited as you all are to be able to do this in person. The last time we held a regular PhD commencement event on this stage was in May 2019, and since then we have shared some extraordinary times together. My faculty colleagues, my staff colleagues, and I have the privilege of watching our students develop into engineering leaders through our rigorous curriculum and the research experiences that Berkeley Engineering is known for. But the unprecedented circumstances of the past few years have forced us to pivot and adapt to new ways of learning, of interacting with each other, of collaborating with each other, and innovating together. It's not lost on me that as we shifted to remote learning and work, we relied on engineering solutions to help us adapt. The technological underpinnings that supported video conference calls, video classrooms, webinars, and group meetings, for instance, enabled new ways for us to stay connected and to collaborate together while we maintain social distancing. But what the past few years have also shown us is that technology is only part of the solution. We witnessed up close how the pandemic disproportionately affected those with the fewest resources to cope. We saw the importance of community for support of our mental well-being, as well as our academic achievement. And we were reminded of the importance of putting people first, always. As you continue on in your professional careers, we hope that you will take what you've experienced to heart and advance our public mission as inclusive leaders who create knowledge and innovate new solutions equitably for the benefit of our diverse society. Berkeley engineers are already known for their grit and ability to solve problems and to innovate. Let's remind the world that our reputation includes advocacy for a fair and inclusive society. Work to make people's lives better. Include and value the perspectives and ideas of people who come from different backgrounds and who think differently than you do in order to develop the best products, processes, and systems to benefit society. I have no doubt that as holders of a doctorate degree from the world's top public school of engineering, you will make us proud. Go Bears! I now have the honor of introducing our exceptional PhD student commencement speaker, Sally Winkler. Born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, Sally was drawn to engineering for altruistic reasons. She knew that she wanted to use science to build things that would help others. In particular, she grew to love bioengineering, not only for its potential to affect human health, but also because it was a relatively new field, ripe for innovation. While earning her bachelor's degree in bioengineering, Sally was a Siebel Scholar and a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellow. For her doctoral research here at Berkeley, she worked in the lab of Professor Philip Messerschmidt, developing bio-inspired adhesives for use in fetal surgeries. Sally was a second-year PhD student when she co-founded Double Helix, which is a podcast about women in STEM and the grad school experience. Topics covered in this podcast include interviews with leading scientists, advice about passing qualifying exams, and discussions about working in research labs while pregnant. There's even a series about post-PhD career journeys, something that might be of interest to some of you here. Double Helix earned Sally and her podcast co-founder, Kayla Wolf, an Athena Award from UC's Women in Tech initiative. Sally earned her PhD here in bioengineering in 2020, which was a momentous year. She is now a biological research scientist at AbbVie in Irvine, California, and we are very glad that she has returned to campus to celebrate with us today. Please join me in welcoming Sally Winkler as our PhD student commencement speaker.
Thank you, Dean Liu. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here with us, faculty, friends, and family. Class of 2022, welcome to your commencement. And class of 2020 and 2021, welcome back to Cal. I know many of you have traveled a long way to be here today. It's really surreal to be back here on our beautiful campus for the first time in over a year. It feels like I could just step back into lab and get to work like no time has passed. Graduates, we should all be so proud to be here today. As our friends and family know, getting a PhD is hard work. The research grind, the long hours, the failed experiments. And we have made it across this epic finish line during some really wild times. When I finished my PhD on Zoom in my apartment, it was the summer of 2020. I had a new baby, a new Berkeley degree, and no job for 8 months. Completing my thesis really should have been a time of epic celebration, and it was for a moment, but then followed a period of deep questioning and self-criticism. Were all my past decisions a mistake? If only I had worked harder or maybe gotten a little bit more data, maybe I would have a job. All my friends found jobs, so what was I doing wrong? But it was these very friends, my peers and mentors here at Berkeley, who helped me see that really late 2020 was just a really hard time to find a new job. So there's probably not that much I could have done differently. And in the end, the training and experiences that I had here at Berkeley helped me secure a dream position exactly where I am supposed to be. But if I had attended this commencement ceremony in 2020, right after I had finished my degree, I would have found it a little bit hard to take pride in my achievements. So in case any one of you graduates is feeling that way today, I want to ensure each and every one of you that you belong here at our commencement. Your PhDs are a tribute to your perseverance, your tenacity, and your strength, not only as engineers, but as people, dedicated to bettering our world and our communities. Berkeley engineers have a heart of service, and I am humbled by the ways that my peers have stepped up to serve others during graduate school, above and beyond their research responsibilities. Students improved our department's equity and inclusion practices. Students worked overtime to staff the campus COVID test center. Students researched new ways to lengthen the life of N95 masks. Students spearheaded PPE donations to frontline healthcare workers. And students helped each other through the highs and especially the lows of graduate school. Whether through large initiatives or small actions, every graduate here today has gone above and beyond to serve others. And I know we will bring the spirit of service with us beyond this university to wherever we go, even if, like me 2 years ago, you're not yet sure where you're going to end up. Completing your thesis is an individual achievement for which each of you should be so incredibly proud. I hope that you can banish any lingering doubts and celebrate yourself today. You deserve it. But getting through graduate school, now that is a team sport. And I will leave you with a message of deepest gratitude for my team. Gratitude for the university and our shared experience here. Gratitude for my mentors and my teachers. Gratitude for my husband, Stephen, and his support, and for our daughter, who's grown from a little COVID baby into a force of nature. Gratitude for my family, especially my parents and my brother, who have given me so much. And finally, especially gratitude for my peers, my friends, and my fellow service-hearted graduates. I could not have done it without you. Graduates, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sally, for your words of wisdom and best wishes in your professional endeavors. It is now my great honor to introduce an esteemed Berkeley engineering alumna, Dr. Anne Lee Carlin, who will deliver today's commencement address. Anne is the Chief Operating Officer of Altos Labs, a new biotechnology company which is focused on restoring cell health and reversing disease development and human aging. Previously, as Senior Vice President at Genentech, she led portfolio management and operations, overseeing more than 35 drug development teams, including the group behind treatments for multiple sclerosis and other immunology therapies. That experience illustrated the importance of including diversity of voices in successful teams. Consistent with her dedication to equity and inclusion, Anne was elected president and chair for the Association of Women in Science, which is a position that she held from the years 2014 through the years 2016. Before joining Genentech in 2002, Anne was a leader in venture development at Eli Lilly, and she interned at UBS Investment Bank in London. She also served as a senior scientist and project leader at biotech companies in La Jolla, California. Anne credits her love of science fiction and her interest in bionics for influencing her decision to major in bioengineering at Berkeley. After earning her bachelor's degree here, she went on to earn an MBA from Stanford and a PhD in bioengineering from UC San Diego. For her postdoctoral study, she went to the University College in London as a National Science Foundation International Research Fellow. She currently serves on the engineering advisory boards at both UC Berkeley and at UC San Diego. And she is also a board member for Echo, which is a startup company focused on AI algorithms and advanced devices for cardiopulmonary medicine. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Anne Lee Carlin.
Thank you so much, Dean Liu. Thank you to Sally for a wonderful speech. And thank you to all of our distinguished faculty, guests, friends, and families. I am honored and delighted to be here today as a Berkeley engineering alum. You will be one soon. And to celebrate this momentous occasion with you in person. Everything is so much better in person. Congratulations to all the PhD graduates of UC Berkeley's College of Engineering. We are so proud of your achievements. I first heard about Berkeley Engineering when I was about 7 or 8 years old, when I was growing up in New Orleans. Can you tell from my accent? I'm from the South. It's true. My parents are immigrants, and my father took a long journey by boat to come to the US to pursue the American dream. He told me that one of the first things that he decided to do was to travel to Berkeley to see the best engineering school in the world. And he was right. Do you remember your first day at Berkeley? You do. Someone raised their hand. I hope it was filled with excitement and possibility. It turns out that it was the first of the many days that it took to earn your PhD. I'm here to help you thank your wonderful classmates, your advisors, and your family and friends who made it possible for you to finish and who are with you today to celebrate. I hope your PhD journey was memorable, and on your best days, you experienced the joy and the expansiveness of scientific freedom and exploration. Hold on to that feeling. The best engineering and scientific leaders that I've known remember that feeling and lead by genuine curiosity and their love of learning. One of my most memorable classes at Berkeley was non-equilibrium thermodynamics. I know, hard to believe. The title of our assigned book was Order Out of Chaos. This always seemed to be a perfect definition for engineering, building order out of chaos. I don't know if you still read the news. There's chaos out there. How will you, as an engineer, navigate the world? As I'm sure you do, I sometimes turn to the philosophers. I know you're running through your favorite ones right now. Okay, on the one hand, there is Thomas Hobbes, the philosopher and author of Leviathan, who believed that human life in its natural state is nasty, brutish, and short. Or there is Mencius, Mengzi, a philosopher who believed that human nature is innately good and can flourish with care and cultivation. I don't know which philosopher is right, but I do know that I have witnessed generosity and grace in this world. Like you, I'm grateful for mentors who have readily shared their advice and who opened doors for us even if we weren't ready. I've seen the deep generosity of teams working side by side, day and night, together to develop new medicines for life-threatening diseases. One of these teams was focused on a new therapy for multiple sclerosis that took over 15 years to develop, from research to FDA approval. At one of our most difficult and lowest points for our team, a patient who had completed one of our clinical trials reached out and asked to meet with us. She was a professor and an athlete who had been debilitated by MS. By the time she joined our trial, she couldn't walk, was bedridden, and most painful for her, could not pick up or hold her young children. When our team met her, she stood up, walked towards us, and thanked every person for their hard work and dedication. She could walk and run again, and she had her life back. In the end, this medicine received FDA's Breakthrough Therapy designation and has changed how MS is treated around the world. There is a power in teams, a strength in numbers. I hope you'll be a part of great teams, and you are sought after as a great team member. When conflict arises on teams, as they always do, assume noble intent. Seek feedback on how others experience you as a teammate and leader. As one of my professors said, it takes two to know one. That is, it takes two people to know one person. You'll always need feedback and data from others to know yourself. This matters because the most complex problems will need high-performing teams, and the best teams encourage debate and diverse views and think about their impact on the greater society. In a good society, who decides which diseases to study? Who gets access to new technologies and medicines? And how do we balance technological freedom and social responsibility? One of the best ways to answer these questions is to make sure that our teams and decision makers are as broad and diverse as the people and patients whom we serve. As PhD students, you've seen many possible futures for us. The future of healthcare needs engineers and scientists. Biology and technology are converging so rapidly that nearly all disciplines of engineering are needed, with applications that include bioinformatics, imaging, bioprocess engineering, environmental science, drug delivery and devices, robotics, computational biology, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We are in the age of genomics and data at scale. Today, large databases, hospitals, patient monitoring generate a massive amount of data on thousands, if not millions, of patients. Global data will reach the zettabyte scale. You do know what a zettabyte is, right? That is 1 trillion gigabytes, about the same as 36 million years of high-definition video. Currently, about 80% of medical data is unstructured, yet clinically relevant, so there could be enormous potential gains to be made by looking at all the data as a whole. Major open issues remain about data privacy and security, and how to return and communicate genetic results to patients. What is the future of healthcare from a patient's point of view? All of us want to predict and prevent disease. No one wants disease. But if we do become ill, the ideal is to not just treat, but to restore health and possibly cure. Our future is predict and prevent, restore and cure. Vaccines, AI, deep learning, and advanced sensors in healthcare provide examples of predict and prevent. For restore, cell biology, technology platforms, and computational science have advanced to the point where we can dial back cells to an earlier state, with the potential to restore cell health and reverse disease. Deep collaboration could make this vision into a reality. We can shape our future together. It turns out that big data is not only important for healthcare, but also crucial to one of the most important topics for all engineers: happiness. There was a great article in the New York Times this week on a big data project called Mappiness. Go look it up. According to Mappiness, the data-driven answer to happiness in life is to be outside with people you love on a sunny day of 75 degrees or more, overlooking a beautiful body of water, and I might add, earning your PhD. I added that part. Today could be your perfect day of happiness. I hope our paths might cross in the future, and I really look forward to seeing the generational impact of your dreams and your work. Congratulations to all our PhD graduates. You've made us proud to be Berkeley engineers. In closing, I send you our very best wishes. Go forth, go strong, go Bears.
Thank you, Anne. It's a great honor to have you with us here today, and thanks for sharing your insights with us. Commencement is a proud day for graduates and their families. It's also a proud moment for the University of California. The degrees conferred by the university attest to the high achievement of our students and to the fulfillment of the primary task of our university, which is to advance knowledge. Today's ceremony recognizes engineers' Doctor of Philosophy. And Anne also pointed out the importance of our loved ones in this journey. So I'd like to invite all of our graduates to express your appreciation to family and friends who have supported you in your pursuit of a graduate degree. Please stand up and give them an enthusiastic cheer. Woo! Thank you so much. We know what a special day this is, and that many of you will be taking photographs, so we also ask to please keep the aisles clear in consideration of those seated. It is now time to grant our candidates their hard-earned degrees and recognize each of them by name. Kathy Yellick, UC Berkeley's Vice Chancellor of Research, will confer the degrees.
The doctoral degree is the highest academic degree granted by a university upon completion of original research resulting in a major thesis that adds to the knowledge base of a discipline. We are delighted to recognize these candidates for their extraordinary achievements. Will the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy please rise? In my authority as Vice Chancellor of Research of the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Please be seated. Congratulations on your accomplishments.
In keeping with academic tradition, we will place the hood signifying the doctoral degree over the head of each candidate. The hood's dark blue velvet border represents the doctoral degree, and its blue and gold satin lining indicates that the degree is awarded by the University of California. Candidates will be introduced by the department chairs. They will come forward and be joined by their faculty advisor who will present the hood. We start with the candidates from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology are Sungwook Ji, who is advised by Professor Sungwook Lee and hooded by Professor Sungwook Lee. Carlos Bial, who is advised by Professor Oscar Dubon and hooded by Professor Oscar Dubon. Samuel Oliver, who is advised by Professor Per Pearson and will be hooded by me. Emma Regan, who is advised by Professor Feng Wang and hooded by me. Akil Hashim, who is advised by Professor Evans Dickey and hooded by Professor David Atterwood. Meng Zhang, who is advised by Professor Carlos Bustamante and hooded by Professor Carlos Bustamante. Fumika Asolo, who is advised by Professor Carl Schroeder and hooded by Professor Carl Schroeder. Rio Mori, who is advised by Professor Alessandro Lanzara and hooded by Professor Alessandro Lanzara. Mohammad Sohailipour, who is advised by Professor Mohammad Morfred and hooded by Professor Mohammad Morfred. We will now introduce our next round of PhD candidates from the Department of Bioengineering by Professor Sanjay Kumar.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Bioengineering are Emily Suter, hooded and advised by Dan Fletcher. Gaman Carmen Chan, hooded and advised by Dan Fletcher. Hardik Kothare, hooded and advised by Shrikanta Nagarajan and John Hoon. Claudia Iriando, hooded and advised by Sharmila Majumdar. Philip Lee, hooded and advised by Dan Vigneron. Kristen Kotner, hooded and advised by Lydia Son. Su Hyun Shin, hooded and advised by Moriel Vansberger. Kaylin Colson, hooded and advised by Steve Connolly. Kazuamori Lewis, hooded and advised by David Schaefer. Paula Andrea Lopez, hooded and advised by Dave Schaefer and by me. Suraj Mukherjee, Suraj Mukherjee, excuse me, hooded and advised by Bo Wang. Kyrillos Yanni, hooded and advised by Laura Waller. Milad Medipur, advised by Irina Conboy and hooded by Ian Holmes. David Keith Piek, advised by Jose Carmena and Michelle Maharbitz and hooded by Ian Holmes. Jordi Silvestre Ryan, hooded and advised by Ian Holmes. Mark Adrian Lim, hooded and advised by Ting Shu. Sally Monica Winkler, hooded and advised by Phil Messersmith. We'll now introduce our next round of PhD candidates from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, introduced by Professor Mark Stacey.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering are coming soon. Basil Sadek, advised and hooded by Michael Cassidy. Ibrahim Jamal Itane, advised and hooded by Michael Cassidy. Fiona Greer, advised by Arpad Horvath and Yasenka Rakas, and hooded by them both. Jad Cohen, advised and hooded by Philip Philippou. Tal Feinstein, advised and hooded by Jack Maley. Benjamin Worsfold, advised and hooded by Jack Maley. Juan Carvajal Venasco, advised and hooded by Paulo Montero. Ke Shui, advised and hooded by Paulo Montero and Daniela Ushimishima. Su Min Wu, advised and hooded by Scott Mora. Miklos Zoller, advised and hooded by Sanjay Govinji. Sophia Dagmar Hamilton, advised and hooded by Rob Harley. Jiajian Liu, advised and hooded by Mark Hansen and Offer Grembeck. Lu Dai, advised and hooded by Mark Hansen. An Lee, advised and hooded by Mark Hansen. Casey Thomas Kazuyuki Finnerty, advised and hooded by Bao Shemi. Angela Nicole Stigler, advised and hooded by David Sedlak. Yanghua Duan, advised and hooded by David Sedlak. Emily Catherine Cook, advised by Lisa Alvarez Cohen and hooded by David Sedlak. Hannah Greenwald, advised and hooded by Kara Nelson. Rebecca Shugru, advised and hooded by Thomas Kirkstetter. Emily Barnes Franklin, advised and hooded by Alan Goldstein. Jean Veriel Wilkening, advised by Sally Thompson and hooded by me. Gabriel Pablo Lobo Benavides, advised and hooded by Ashok Gadgil. Shiva Rama Satyam Bandaru, advised and hooded by Ashok Gadgil. Sarah Glade, advised and hooded by Ashok Gadgil. Dana Hernandez, advised and hooded by Ashok Gadgil. And Lucas Hackle, advised and hooded by Ashok Gadgil. It's upside down. Stephen David Wong, advised and hooded by Susan Shaheen and Joan Walker. That's all right, I got mine. Emma Luckin, advised and hooded by Joan Walker and Susan Shaheen. Juan David Caicedo Castro, advised and hooded by Joan Walker. Hassan Obaid, advised and hooded by Joan Walker. Meng Chiao Yu, advised and hooded by Joan Walker. Yuqing Gao, advised and hooded by Khalid Mosallam. Chung Luang Li, advised and hooded by Khalid Mosallam. Xin Peng, advised and hooded by Raja Sengupta. Chao Wang, advised and hooded by Xiaofan Li. Yuxi Zhe, advised and hooded by Xiaofan Li. R. Andrew Yesko, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Renji Wu, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Jess Parker, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Runan O, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. John W. Murphy, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Peter George Hubbard, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Ezra Yonas Sitiasabda, advised and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Zorana Miich, advised and hooded by Jonathan Bray. Peng Tan, advised and hooded by Nicholas Sitar. We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences with Professor Claire Tomlin and Professor David Wagner.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences are
Tyler Westenbrook, advised and hooded by Shankar Sastry.
This is a momentous occasion because we have Professor Ruzhana Baichi, who is completing her 56 years in academia in the United States, the last 20 of which have been at Berkeley, and she is hooding her final 3 students today. The first of those is Laura Anise Halak, who's advised by Ruzhana Baichi and hooded by Ruzhana Baichi.
Carolyn Maddle, advised and hooded by Ruzhana Baichi.
Isabella Huang, advised by Ruzhana Baichi, hooded by Ruzhana Baichi.
Akshay Patabi, advised and hooded by Jeffrey Bokar.
Juan Pablo Hinas, advised by Jeff Bokor, hooded by Jeff Bokor.
Armin Askari, advised by Laurent Elgawi, hooded by Claire Tomlin.
Masa Sadeghi, advised by Ana Arias, hooded by Ana Arias.
Carol Luis Baumbauer, advised and hooded by Ana Arias.
Jody Suan Lu, advised by Ming Wu, hooded by Ming Wu.
Johannes Henriksen, advised and hooded by Ming Wu.
Christos Horgios Adamopoulos, advised by Vladimir Stoyanovich, hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Kurash Hakamanishi, co-advised by Vladimir Stoyanovich and Peter Abil, hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Panayotis Zarkos, advised by Vladimir Stoyanovich and hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Sydney Douglas Bookbinder, advised and hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Esther Rolfe, advised by Benjamin Recht and Michael Jordan, hooded by Benjamin Recht and Michael Jordan.
Nathaniel Weinman, advised by Armando Fox and Marty Hurst.
Catherine Renee Stasaski, advised by Marty Hurst and hooded by Marty Hurst.
Philippe Labun, advised and hooded by Marty Hurst and John Canny.
Roshan Rao, advised by Peter Abiel and John Canny, and hooded by John Canny.
Thomas Ryland Rembert, advised and hooded by Sujay King Liu.
Benjamin Oshoba, advised by Sujay King Liu, hooded by Sujay King Liu.
Xiaoer Hu, advised and hooded by Sujay King Liu.
Jishin Alice Ye, advised by Sujay King Liu, hooded by Sujay King Liu.
Ermita Schichter, advised and hooded by Sujay King Liu.
Pariya Rashni Dinajad, advised by John Tao Zhao and Stuart Russell, hooded by John Tao Zhao.
Wanu No, advised and hooded by Boubacar Kante.
Hani Gomez, advised by Chris Peaster, hooded by Chris Peaster.
Nathan Lambert, advised by Chris Pister and Roberto Calendra, and hooded by Chris Pister.
Marcel Vasquez Shanlate, advised by Sanjit Seshia, hooded by Sanjit Seshia.
Mikhail Burov, advised by Murat Arkak, and hooded by Sanjit Sesha.
Aisha Mushtaq, advised by Scott Schenker and Sylvia Ratnasamy, hooded by Scott Schenker and Sylvia Ratnasamy.
Margaret Pfeiffer Chapman, advised and hooded by Claire Tomlin. Regina Francis Eckert, advised and hooded by Laura Waller.
Christina Monakova, advised by Laura Waller, hooded by Laura Waller.
Fanglin Linda Liu, advised and hooded by Laura Waller.
Henry Pinkard, advised by Laura Waller, hooded by Laura Waller.
Yang Juan David Ren, advised and hooded by Laura Waller.
Gautam Gunjala, advised by Laura Waller, hooded by Laura Waller.
Biai Hong Jin, advised and hooded by Alberto Sangiovanni Vincentelli.
Xiangyu Yue, advised by Alberto Sangiovanni Vincentelli and hooded by Alberto Sangiovanni Vincentelli.
Brian O'Gorman, advised by Birgitta Whaley and Umesh Vazirani, and hooded by Birgitta Whaley.
Shruti Agarwal, advised by Hani Farid and Emily Cooper, hooded by Hani Farid.
Aravind Srinivas, advised by Peter Abil and Ken Goldberg, and hooded by Ken Goldberg.
Ashwin Balakrishna, advised by Ken Goldberg, hooded by Ken Goldberg.
Bridgen Theanan Jayan, advised and hooded by Ken Goldberg and Joey Gonzalez.
Michael Danielchuk, advised by Ken Goldberg, hooded by Ken Goldberg.
Dail Lee, advised and hooded by Kirsty Asanovich.
Eric Love, advised by Kirsty Asanovich, hooded by Kirsty Asanovich.
David Biancolin, advised and hooded by Jonathan Bachrock and Kirsty Asanovich.
Jamie Schwartz, advised by Alexandra von Meyer, hooded by Alexandra von Meyer.
Keith Moffett, advised and hooded by Alexandra von Meyer and Claire Tomlin. Neil Thomas, advised and hooded by Yun Song.
Sanjit Singh Batra, advised by Yun Song, hooded by Yun Song.
Alan Wagner, advised by Nir Yusuf and hooded by Yun Song.
Jordan Edmonds, advised by Michelle Maharbis, hooded by Michelle Maharbis.
Oliver Chen, advised by Michael Maharbis and Chris Pister.
Sammy Omoitayo Ibrahim, advised by John De Niro, hooded by John De Niro.
David Gotti, advised and hooded by Dan Klein.
Vretos Mulos, advised by Satish Rao, hooded by Satish Rao.
Arun Ganesh, advised and hooded by Satish Rao.
Justin Yim, advised by Ronald Fearing, hooded by Koshal Srinath.
Pratyush Mishra, co-advised by Raluca Popa and Alessandro Chiesa, and hooded by Raluca Popa.
Yun Song Hu, advised by Raluca Popa and Alessandro Chiesa, and hooded by Raluca Popa.
Wai King Chen, advised and hooded by Raluca Popa.
Sarah Gimbert Sturman, advised by Eric Paulos, hooded by Eric Paulos.
Molly Jane Nicholas, advised and hooded by Eric Paulos.
Christine Dirk, advised by Eric Paulos, hooded by Eric Paulos.
Ren Dong Tian, advised and hooded by Eric Paulos.
Eldon Shoup, advised by Björn Hartman, hooded by Björn Hartman.
Richard Lynn, advised and hooded by Bjorn Hartman and Alad Alan.
Vidya Muthukumar, advised by Anand Sahai, hooded by Anand Sahai.
Ashwin Pananjati, advised by Martin Wainwright and Thomas Cortad, and hooded by Thomas Cortad.
Soham Rajesh Fade, advised by Venkat Anantharam and by Thomas Cortad, and hooded by Thomas Cortad.
Kwan Yun Lee, advised and hooded by Thomas Cortad.
Christopher Yarp, advised by John Wozniak, hooded by John Wozniak.
Soham Datta, advised by Jan Rabai, hooded by John Wozniak.
Chi-Ching Huang, advised by John Wozniak, hooded by John Wozniak.
Ming Yen Gao, advised by Chen Ming Hu, hooded by Saif Salahuddin.
Yu Hong Liao, advised by Saif Salahuddin and hooded by Saif Salahuddin.
Benjamin Acker Brock, advised and hooded by Kathy Yellick and Aydin Buluch.
Julia Guidi, advised by Catherine Yellick and Aydin Buluch, and hooded by Catherine Yellick and Aydin Buluch.
Sang Min Han, advised and hooded by Chun-Lei Liu.
Victor Han, advised by Chun-Lei Liu, hooded by Chun-Lei Liu.
Frederick Ebert, advised by Sergey Levine and Chelsea Finn, and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Gregory Kahn, advised by Sergey Levin and Peter Abil, and hooded by Sergey Levin.
Anusha Nagabandi. Advised by Sergey Levine and Ron Fearing, and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Shin Yoon Chen, advised by Don Song and Sergey Levin, hooded by Sergey Levin.
Michael B. Chang, advised and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Michael David Dennis, advised by Stuart Russell, hooded by Sergey Levin.
Justin Fu, advised and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Vici He Pong, advised by Sergey Levin, hooded by Sergey Levin.
JD Correas, advised and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Marvin Zhang, advised by Sergey Levin, hooded by Sergey Levin.
Kelvin Shu, advised and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Ashwin Nair, advised by Sergey Levin and hooded by Sergey Levin. Oh, good. Daniel Hendricks, advised by Jacob Steinhardt and David Wagner and on song, hooded by David Wagner. Chunggong Wu, advised by Joseph Hellerstein, hooded by Joseph Hellerstein.
Yifan Wu, advised and hooded by Joe Hellerstein.
Doris Shin, advised by Aditya Paramaswaran, hooded by Joseph Hellerstein.
Matthew Georges Clive Anderson, advised by Jan Rabai and Ali Niknejad.
Emily Naviaski, advised by Ali Niknejad and Elad Alon, and hooded by Ali Niknejad and Elad Alon.
Chandan Singh, advised and hooded by Bin Yu.
Guanhua Wang, advised by Jan Stoika, hooded by Jan Stoika.
Stephanie Wong, advised and hooded by Jan Stojka.
Smita Mili, advised by Anka Dragan and Moritz Hart, hooded by Anka Dragan.
Kush Bhatia, advised by Anka Dragan and Peter Bartlett, and hooded by Anka Dragan. Andrea Baichi, advised and hooded by Anka Dragan and Claire Tomlin. Melly Ellibol, advised and hooded by Mike Jordan and Jan Stojka.
Samoni Azadi, advised by Trevor Darrell, hooded by Trevor Darrell.
Dichuan Wong, advised and hooded by Trevor Darrell.
Saina Ibrahimi, advised by Trevor Darrell and David Steigman, hooded by Trevor Darrell.
Drong Liu, advised and hooded by Trevor Darrell.
Parsa Mahmoudi, advised by Trevor Darrell, hooded by Trevor Darrell.
Xin Wang, advised and hooded by Joey Gonzalez and Trevor Darrell.
Alvin Juan, advised by Joseph Gonzalez, hooded by Joseph Gonzalez.
Nathan Pemberton, advised by Joey Gonzalez and Randy Katz, and hooded by Joey Gonzalez.
Lydia Tingruo Liu, advised by Michael Jordan, hooded by Michael Jordan.
Carl M. Croft, advised and hooded by Michael Jordan.
Erin Marie Grant, advised by Tom Griffiths, hooded by Michael Jordan.
Nilesh Tripuraneni, advised and hooded by Michael Jordan. I would also like to acknowledge a PhD candidate, Siddharth Reddy, who's unable to join us in person today. Reddy was advised by Professors Anka Dragan and Sergey Levine. We'll now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research.
With Professor Alper Atamturk.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research are Caleb Exeverg Bag, hooded and advised by Professor Anil Aswani. Heyun Liu, advised and hooded by Paul Grigas.
Step up to the microphone a little bit more, maybe.
Georgios Patsakis, advised and hooded by Professor Shmuel Aaron. Sangwoo Park, advised by Professor Javad Lavai and hooded by me. I would like to acknowledge a PhD candidate, Yusu Kikuchi, who was unable to join us in person today. Kikuchi was advised by Professor Shingu. We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Material Science and Engineering. And I'd like to bring Professor Lane Martin to the lectern.
Hello, you guys hanging in there, all right? All right, a little bit different. All right, the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Material Science and Engineering are Ri Chen, hooded and advised by Dr. Ji Yao. Ching Jun Wang, advised and hooded by Ji Yao. More pictures. Got to get all the permutations of pictures. Yao Sen Tian, advised and hooded by Professor Gerd Sater. Yi Han Xiao, advised and hooded by Professor Gerd Sater. Julia Yang, advised and hooded by Professor Gerd Sater. Tina Chen, advised and hooded by Professor Gerd Sater. Luis Barosa Luque, advised and hooded by Professor Gerd Sater. John L., advised and hooded by Professor Rob Ritchie. Lei Ma, advised and hooded by Professor Ting Zhu. Aaron Michael Hall, advised and hooded by Professor Ting Zhu. Ala Zamareva, advised by Dr. Ana Arias and hooded by Dr. Ana Arias. Humberto Batiz Guerrero, advised and hooded by Professor Daryl Shawn. Han Dong Ling, advised and hooded by Professor Christine Pearson. Martin Chiron, advised and hooded by Professor Christine Pearson. Abel Fernandez, advised and hooded by Professor Lane Martin. That's me. Stefano Setoyos Blanco, advised and hooded by Professor Peidong Yang. Zhenyi Lin, advised and hooded by Professor Peidong Yang. Catherine Groschner, advised and hooded by Professor Mary Scott. Payman Del Pelastron, advised and hooded by Professor Phil Messersmith. We'd now like to introduce the next round of candidates from the Department of Mechanical Engineering.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Mechanical Engineering are Cheng Tang. The hooder and advisor are Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Shiyu Jin. The hooder and advisor are Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Zhuo Su. The hooder and advisor is Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Jiachen Li. The hooder and advisor is Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Jessica Liu. The hooder and advisor is Professor Masayoshi Tamazuka. Zhenyuan Liu. The hooder and advisor are Professor Michael Franklash. Da-Gun Lee. The hooder and advisor is Professor Claire Tomlin. Jun P.O. Kwan. The hooder and advisor is Professor Robert Ritchie. The second hooder is Professor Ting Zhu. Tong-Gae Wu. The advisor is Professor Tony Keaveney. The hooder is Professor Lisa Pruitt. Allison Jean Gleason. The hooder and advisors are Professor Lisa Pruitt and Daniela Koffer. Sophia Arevalo. The hooder and advisor is Professor Lisa Pruitt. Katerina Mololari. The hooder and advisor are Professor Philip Messerschmidt. Jared Porter. The hooder and advisor is Professor Kameshwar Pula. Zhao Yu Nie. The hooder and advisors are Professor Shang Zhang and Professor Jie Yao. Conrad Holda. The hooder and advisor are Professor Mark Mueller. Zhang Yu Wu. The hooder and advisor is Professor Mark Mueller. Jun Zheng. The hooder and advisor is Professor Kaushal Srinath. Benjamin Webner. The hooder and advisor is Professor Grace O'Connell. Mi Hao Zhou. The hooder and advisor is Professor Grace O'Connell. Gabrielle Laupe Marcilel. The hooder and advisor is Professor Grace O'Connell. Jonathan McKinley. The hooder and advisor is Professor Grace O'Connell. Emily Lingbird. The hooder and advisor is Professor Grace O'Connell. Eric Thatcher. The hooder and advisor is Professor Simo Makaharu. Daniel Joseph Grebe. The advisor is Simo Makaharo and Omer Savas, and the hooder is Professor Simo Makaharo. Angel Francisco Rodriguez. The hooder and advisor is Professor Simo Makaharu. Abdullah Quran. The hooder and advisor is Professor Omer Savas. Makil Kelly. The hooder and advisors are Professor Reza Alam and Professor Omer Savas. Alexander Imas. The hooder and advisors are Professor Reza Alam and Professor Omer Savas. Do Hai Nin. The hooder and advisors are Professor Reza Alam and Professor Omer Savas. Peyton Goodrich. The hooder and advisors are Professor Anna Arias and Professor Tarek Zodi. Donghin Kim. The hooder and advisor is Professor Tarek Zodi. Nicolas Castri John. The hooder and advisor is Professor Tarek Zodi. Zaraki Nolis Yoon. The hooder and advisor is Professor Tarek Zodi. Roger Isid. The hooder and advisor is Professor Tarek Zodi. George Edward Moore II. The hooder and advisors are Professor Alice Agagino and Professor Kosa Gosher Lambert. Evan Hemingway. The hooder and advisor is Professor Oliver O'Reilly. Haris Mulazam Shaikh. The hooder and advisor is Professor Philip Marcus. Mohadessa Pyro. The hooder and advisor is Professor Mohammed Mofrad. Brian Salazar. The hooders and advisors are Professor Hayden Taylor and Professor Lee Wai Lin. Kristen Kadala. The advisor is Hayden Taylor. The hooder is Professor Lee Wai Lin. Neil Ramirez. The hooder and advisor are Professor Lee Wai Lin. Sadat Pala. The hooder and advisor is Professor Lee Wai Lin. Ruichi Guo. The hooder and advisor is Professor Lee Wai Lin. Jason Wu. The hooder is me, and the advisor is Professor Chris Dames. He was here, but I don't know. Ashok. Ashok Gadgil?
You need a choke?
Yeah. Ashok Gadgil. Okay, just do the next page. Samuel, why don't you come? Samuel Cabrera. I am the advisor, and I will be doing the hooding. Paige Elizabeth Balcom. The hooders and advisors are myself and Professor Ashok Gadgil. Zacharias Vangelatatos. The hooder and advisor is Professor Kostas Grigoropoulos. Meenak Park. The hooders and advisors are Professor Kostas Grigoropoulos and Professor Vasilia Zorba. We'd also like to acknowledge two PhD candidates who were unable to join us in person today. Professor Carlos Fernandez-Peyo and I advised Lauren Bergen-Gagnon, who received her PhD as well, and Alan Zhang, who was advised by Professor Alice Agagino. We'll now introduce the next round of candidates from the Department of Nuclear Engineering.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Nuclear Engineering. Michael Bondon, his advisor is Kai Vetter, and he'll be hooded by Professor Kai Vetter. Justin Ellen, he will be hooded by his advisor, Professor Kai Vetter. Emily Frame will be hooded by her advisor, Professor Kai Vetter. Joanna M. Schornell will be hooded by her advisor, Professor Kai Vetter. Patience. Yufei Wang will be hooded by his advisor, Professor Rebecca Abergel. Tyler Allen Bailey will be hooded by his advisor, Professor Rebecca Abergel. Timothy Genda, whose advisor is Peter Hausman, and will be hooded by Professor Rebecca Abergel. Saad Al-Kanani, whose advisor is Professor Carl Van Bibber, that's me, and I'll do the hooding. Next. Oh, here we are. Daiji Sun, whose advisor is Professor Haruko Wainwright, and I will do the hooding. Shane Eric Gallagher, who would be hooded by his advisor, Professor Per Peterson. Ishak Johnson, who will be hooded by his advisor, Per Peterson. Maria Simonovskia, who will be a hood advisor by her advisor, who is me. Franziska Schmidt, whose advisor is Professor Peter Hosman, and I will do the hooding. Samantha Michelle Lewis, I am her advisor, and I have the privilege of doing the hooding. All yours.
To all of our distinguished Doctors of Philosophy graduates from across the college, congratulations! Woo! We wish you the very best as you begin the next phase of your journey as Berkeley engineers. You are now and forever not only Berkeley engineers, but also Doctors of Philosophy from the finest public university in the nation. Yeah. And one of the top engineering schools in the world. Be proud. Woo! We hope that you remember these years at Berkeley with fondness. Please stay in touch with each other and with us. We'd love to hear from you. We also hope that you will come back and share your experiences, impart your knowledge, maybe come back as a commencement speaker, and share your experiences with those who follow you. This concludes our doctoral commencement ceremony. We now invite you to make your way to the Campanile for a reception hosted by the College of Engineering. Best wishes to you all, and go Bears! Woo!